This is Jackie, and I am here with Bowling for Soup. Late last month, you released your new single, Holding On to That Hate, the first in 3 years. Why was
Yeah.
now the time to put out new music?
Well, it was kind of just a happy accident, really. We had the studio that we had worked in on our last album, and the one that Rob has pretty much worked in his whole life. Got an opportunity to try out a new piece of gear for the company SSL, and they needed a guinea pig band for it. And we're like, hey, do you guys want to come up here and record a song for free up in the Poconos? And it was like, yeah, why not? And honestly, it was such a good experience that we were like, you know what, maybe it's time that we get back in and actually record a new record. So that this holding on to that hate has led to us getting back into the studio here in February to do a new album, and we're pretty excited about it.
Nice, nice. How was that song sort of born? Did it start with a riff, a lyric, the bridge?
Yeah, it's really new actually, because a new experience for us, because Rob has really started to write quite a bit, which I've pretty much been the main writer for most of our career, and so it was fairly magical. He hit me with this piece of music, and the night before, I had woken up in the middle of the night and written down the first verse and part of a chorus to just something that I had in my head, and it just fit this piece of music perfectly that he sent me. And I was like, man, this just, I guess this was just meant to be. It's kind of one of those things where it's just it was supposed to happen that way. And so but this little bit of music that he sent me, and then these lyrics that I wrote, again in the middle of the night, and trying not to wake my wife up, and became this song that's going to be the catalyst for a whole new collection.
Amazing. Are you the kind of writer that like gets these spontaneous ideas and has a notepad on their phone full of good stuff?
Oh yeah, I notepad, and so many voice memos, and I can't. I try, and if I have that spark in the middle of the night, I try and get up and sing it into my phone or whatever, but I don't always do it. I so and I you just lay there, and I'm not going to lose this idea. I'm not going to lose it, and then by the next day, it's gone. So, I hate when I do that. So I've gotten a lot better about it. Over the during the iPhone age, really, of just getting it. It used to be a pad and paper beside the bed, and now it's just it's all in my phone. And yeah, so there's a lot of ideas, and sometimes they're in there for a while. I mean, back in the day, I've told this story before, but I had High School Never Ends. I had that written down for years before that even became a light. And the same thing is true for Getting Old Sucks, but Everybody's Doing It. That's one of those things. It was just the idea was written down. I really never had the right music to put it to. And that was another one that Rob had sent me a bit of music on the last record, and I was just like, oh my God, this fits perfect to this idea. And so sometimes it just takes them a while to find their spot.
Make sure you keep checking back on those old memos. Do yourself that
I
favor.
know. I
That's
know. Yeah,
wild.
it is really cool though sometimes to go back and just it's like, oh, okay, here's one from like 2 years ago, and I'll be like, man, that's actually a really good idea. Or it can go both ways. It can also be like, yeah, that is a really terrible idea. But I feel like most of the really good ideas do see the light of day, which is cool. And I love the fact that something can go from just this thought in my head to something down on to a piece of paper or in my phone, and then it gets and then all of a sudden we put something into the world that didn't exist before. It's such a cool process that you through the whole thing. It's just music is just really cool.
Absolutely. So, how would you say your sound has evolved now that you've got a new song out since Pop Drunk Snot Bread?
Yeah, I mean, I think we pretty much kind of are. We'll probably sound pretty close to the same. I mean, we've been together 31 years, and the one thing that we stayed true to was well, all of it really. I mean, we know who we are. We know what our niche is, and definitely know how our band sounds. I mean, we're getting better, as musicians, and we're definitely better singers and better songwriters and stuff. And so there's a lot of stuff that we can explore a little bit different. But I think with Pop Drunk Snot Bread, we got back to kind of the basics: guitar, bass, and drums, and less of the bells and whistles and the keyboards and stuff, which we had really, over a few albums before that had really kind of gotten into a lot more crazy stuff and just, filling up the sound that way. But I really think this is going to be more back to meat and potatoes. Just, again, a couple of guitars, bass, drums, and a lot of vocals, and But then again, I say that, and then we get in there, and you just kind of never know what's going to happen. It's like there's a B3 sitting over there, and you just like, what, this song's got to have that B3 on there. And so you kind of just you go in with one idea, and then you come out with what you come out with.
I think that's very fair. I was listening. I always listen to the song and watch the video while I'm writing questions for each band.
Yeah.
And I think that, the message is pretty simple, yet it's also really poignant in these truly messed up times. Is that sort of where it came from?
It is, because it is simple. It's like, it's easy for us to just go, don't hate, that's one of the things that I say a lot. Don't hate, congratulate, like, let's lift each other up. Let's be, again, even, there's all competition is good competition, and when people win, it's great, and I love it so much. And that, the song kind of comes at it from a simpler sort of, that sort of simple vibe of saying like, hey man, don't hate. But at the same time, yeah, I mean, the world is just full of, again, it's like social media, people just, they don't just think things anymore. People feel like that they need to, everything that they think they have to say. So, it's like, oh my gosh, that person gained weight, I should type that out. You know what I mean? Or that person looks like they've been on a bender, I should tell them that they look like that, and it's just, I feel like we've just all forgot the golden rule of like, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything, and it really bums me out sometimes. And so, I try not to get too deep into, trying to figure the world out or trying to write a song that's going to change the world. But, sometimes the message just kind of comes out clear. And I feel like that's it. Thank you for getting that, because, and I do feel like people have, people have listened to it and gone, this is a song that needs to be out, like this is, this is good for the time and all of that. So yeah, it's definitely got that deeper underlying tone for it.
Yeah, I think we could all use that reminder as much as possible.
Yeah.
The video has this kind of old school fun behind the scenes sort of video vibe. What role do you think music videos have in 2025? Because back when you were making them a while back, we had a channel dedicated to them, and like we actually waited for a world premiere and all that fun stuff.
I know. It's funny because I it's like it seemed like there was a dip in time, but my manager has always said, video has always been king. It's never really, I think, video, a lot of companies stopped spending millions of dollars on videos and stuff, it's like, and even us, I mean, we went from spending, $50,000-$75,000 to trying to get a video made for $2,000, $5,000. But really, we've not stopped watching them. I mean, YouTube is still the number one place for music discovery, and that's what that format was built on is a vision, and a video representation of the song. And so, but there's definitely a time where I just didn't put that much effort into it. We had an album called Drunk Dynasty. And we didn't even make a video for one of the songs until we were like a year and a half in. And that was a bad mistake. Again, I think we were all sort of losing sight of where video fit in. So now, especially with social media, TikTok, Reels and things like that, it's important to have that video representation. And again, YouTube being, that's where people go, to as soon as they hear about a song, they go and they type that in there. So, but yeah, in fact, I've started thinking about that already. As you said, this one was kind of behind the scenes. We were lucky enough to have that SSL camera crew there, and they just gave us the footage, and so we were able to make a video, and it worked out because Rob's son was there, and so there's a cute factor to it and all of that, but yeah, I mean, I'm already thinking to myself, I've got to not only set aside the time to make these songs, but we've got to set aside to make legit videos for the record too.
Hey, no pressure. Take your time. I was watching, again, like I said, I was watching the video, and you mentioned before about like dumb comments. I want to focus on the good comments, because
Yeah.
that to me is worth way more and should be amplified versus the garbage. So there's two.
Yeah.
Viewer Dane Cobain said, "It's an incredible source of happiness that BFS are still cranking out incredible tunes all these years later. Thank you."
Oh man,
How
that's
does
awesome.
comment like that make you feel? Because that's more important.
It is. It's funny because it's like, the 10,000, sweet comments like that should be what registers. But it's the one person, who is like, why haven't you retired already or whatever, where it can just ruin your day. But, again, I can't, it's people coming up to us at the shows and going, man, I've listened to you since I was a kid, or, and I'm in my 30s now, and this is my son and this is my daughter, and just, now it's a family affair. It's just the best feeling in the world. I mean, 31 years in, and people still, happy to be a part of this. Again, it's hashtag blessed, right? It's just, that's the way it feels.
I mean, doing anything for 31 years, especially right now, what do you attribute to that longevity? Because that's huge.
Well, I have to thank, definitely an incredibly loyal fan base. But we were really, we pretty much set it from the front, from the get-go. When it's, we're gonna do this. When it's not fun anymore, we'll stop doing it. We're gonna do it. We're our friendships are more important than anything. We're gonna love one another through all this, and we managed to do that. And when times got hard for us, and personal things, divorces, and custody, and houses and mortgages, and all of these things, kids, around 2013 or 14, things got hard. So we did the smartest thing we ever did, and we took a break. We took about a year off, and when we came back, we were just shot out of a cannon. And so we've been really lucky through a couple of through a member change, and also then our guitar player retiring earlier this year, and we've been so lucky that the fans have been there and supported us through all that. And so perseverance and persistence, and just loving what we do. And I think that's really the secret.
Another viewer, and I'm not just mentioning it because it's an absolutely hysterical username, 7 cats in a suit.
I love it.
Like, need I say more? They said, loving the divorced dad that has been going to therapy vibes. How accurate is that?
It's really, really good, man. It is so good, because it's like, because I talk a lot about mental health and stuff, and I talk a lot about therapy, and I do talk about the fact that I'm divorced, and that my ex and I are good, but it's not an easy navigation, especially with kids and stuff. And then I have a wife that I've been with since 2013, and we have another child, and so there's a lot of things in life that probably do creep themselves into my art. But yeah, I definitely talk a lot about therapy online, and so but it's good because other dads hear me talk about it, and then they go, and so it's one of those things. It's like they drink Miller Lite because I do, and they go to therapy because I do, and it
all
works
the cool
out.
Kids are doing it. All the cool dads.
That's right. Yeah. Absolutely. We go to couples therapy too, and I actually really like it. I tell men are so scared of therapy in general, but men are terrified of couples therapy because they think they're wrong all the time. And then you get in there, and like sometimes they're on your side, and you're like, whoa, this feels great. And so, it's, I definitely recommend that to all couples, whether you're doing great or not. It's like taking your car in for maintenance. It's communication. Sorry to derail your interview and just talk
not
about
at all.
therapy.
I wanted to say thank you for like destigmatizing that, because I think it's so important. I think it not only humanizes the rock star, right, But it
Yeah,
also
yeah,
is like it takes away the idea that like only certain people need help. We all need help.
yeah. I mean,
Even if
we're
we
just,
think we don't.
yeah, I mean, that's just it, right? That humanizing it is the thing. It's like, at the end of the day, I'm a human. I mean, I'm a dad. I'm just like everybody else, and and my friends, I have friends that I care about, and and all those things, and you know, I've watched people really, really suffer with mental health stuff, and I too, have my issues, and so, being able to just talk about it, as you said, erasing the stigma has been the number one thing. And now, though, there's a weird sort of thing where now people are like, okay, okay, it's okay to not be okay. We get it, we get it, we get it. So it's like now we've sort of like we have really done a really good job at crushing the stigma, but now people, the bounce back of that is that people who don't get it will sort of be like, that's so cliche to have mental health problems or whatever, and so now that's sort of the new fight is like, hey, you know what, I mean, if someone says they're struggling, they're struggling, I mean, it it's not us to, we're not the doctors here, and so yeah, but yeah, it's a big thing for me, and something that I hold it near and dear to my heart, and my band is really cool about letting me, have time on stage to talk about it, and to use our our reach, to try and help people.
Well, please keep doing that.
And
Never
I intend to. I
we
intend
were
to.
talking earlier about how like brutal social media can be. When you're talking about new music, how do you balance the idea of like advertising that music, but also being an authentic human being?
Yeah, I think that's the balance, right? Is that like, I it's funny because I do sort of find myself in those, in sort of, I wouldn't call it a rut because it's not, but I will be like, man, I've been so focused on music, I haven't done anything on mental health in a long time. Or then I'll be like, man, I've really been just doing this, and sometimes, so it's honestly just a constant, um, just a sorting it through my head, like, okay, what kind of content have I been putting out there? What's the message that I've been trying to get across? I can't spend so much time talking about the band that I lose the momentum for, trying to build up Punk Rock Saves Lives or whatever it is that I'm working on at that time. So yeah, just honestly, it's a constant, just me trying to keep it sorted in my head. And but I mean, it's kind of nice because the band has its own, socials as well, except for TikTok. TikTok is the only place where it's just me, but everywhere else. So that can stay pretty much just music driven or whatever, and then I can change things up on my own, and so it works out really good. I feel like I do. I think I do as good of a job as I could be expected to in finding that balance. But that's a really good question. Nobody's ever asked me that before, so thank you for that.
I think we're all trying to figure it out, and especially as, not to be insulting, people of a certain age,
Yeah, yeah, totally.
like
No, man.
we didn't grow up with TikTok, and it's just like I don't know what to put out there. Like
Yeah, yeah.
as long as you're trying and you're doing positive stuff, then as you said earlier, that positive stuff is going to come back.
Look how good
So
we look.
what is
Yeah.
what is on your 2026 to-do list? You said February music.
February, we'll be in the studio making a record. We have a tour of Australia. We have more stuff in Europe coming up, and then we have a lot of U.S. dates towards the end of the summer that we haven't announced yet. But new music, we have so much stuff. We have an entire covers record that we've been working on for a while that is almost done, and then we'll have this new record, and I mean, it's a lot. We're definitely going in. Um, it's weird. I think, around pandemic time, I think we all sort of had to take stock. And I think there was probably a bit of me that sort of felt like maybe we were winding down a little bit. There is no, there is no existence of that anymore. And that's all three of us. We are like pedal to the metal. Let's go. People are into pop punk, and people are still loving the band. Let's get out there and let's make some more waves. Let's leave a legacy.
Grab your big spoon. It's time for more Bowling for Soup. Thank you so
That's
much.
right.
I
Yes,
hope you
thank
have a
you.
great night. Stay tuned for much more from Bowling for Soup. This is Jackie. Thanks to Chorus FM and In the Key of Change. Thank you so much.
Thanks for